Dawn breaks over the Kruger Savannah, painting the world in a gentle golden haze. The first rays of sunlight stretch across the endless grasslands, chasing away the shadows of the night and awakening the land with a quiet promise of new beginnings. The savannah glows, bathed in soft orange and pink, as if the sky itself is celebrating the arrival of a new day. Every blade of grass shimmers with dew, and the air is cool, filled with the subtle scent of earth and wildflowers. In this sacred silence, a lone figure moves, Makari. His silhouette glides through the tall grass, a shadow among shadows, almost ethereal in the morning mist. He is both a part of this world and apart from it, a living legend in the making. He's not just any lion. He is a king who rules with silence, not with a roar. His authority is felt, not heard, and his presence is enough to command the respect of all who cross his path. His massive paws make barely a sound as he glides through the dew-soaked grass. Each step is measured, deliberate, as if he is in tune with the heartbeat of the earth itself. Makari's mane, streaked with black and gold, frames eyes that miss nothing. His gaze is sharp, intelligent, and always searching, reading the secrets written in the wind and the grass. Unlike other males, he commands respect without noise. His presence alone unsettles the impala and vervet monkeys. They freeze, sensing the silent power that moves among them, knowing instinctively that this is no ordinary predator. His solitude is his strength, making him more observant and patient than any rival. Alone he hones his instincts, learning the rhythms of the land and the habits of its creatures. He has mastered the secret language of the bush, reading cues others miss. Every rustle, every scent, every distant call tells him a story, and he listens with the wisdom of ages. As the sun rises, Makari claims his throne atop a rocky outcrop, surveying his domain in silence. From this vantage he sees all, prey and rival, friend and foe, the pulse of life that beats across the savannah. He is not just a predator but a part of the landscape, ancient, enduring, and wise. His tawny coat blends with the grass, a living embodiment of the wild's timeless spirit. His story is not of loud conquests, but of intelligence and the quiet power of will. Makari's reign is one of patience, strategy, and a deep understanding of the world he rules. In the cool morning air, his breath forms clouds that vanish as quickly as they appear, a reminder of the fleeting nature of power and life itself. Makari, the Ghost King of Kruger, begins his reign as the savannah awakens, his legend growing with every silent step he takes into the new day. In lion society, power usually comes in numbers, coalitions of males ruling together. The Mapogo coalition, for example, was a storm of violence and dominance, but Makari chose a different path. He ruled alone. Without brothers or allies, he relied on wits, stealth, and a deep understanding of his world. His dominance crept in quietly, not with thunderous roars but with calculated moves. Makari avoided pointless battles, knowing a lone male can't afford injury. He mastered psychological warfare, making rivals believe he was everywhere at once. His solitary existence made him more self-reliant and mysterious. While others shared burdens, Makari carried them all, becoming a better hunter and a smarter fighter. He proved that one brilliant mind could outmatch brute force. In a world of roaring coalitions, Makari's silence rewrote the rules of kingship. Makari's origins are a mystery, pieced together from whispers and speculation. Some say he survived a pride's violent takeover, choosing solitude over chaos. Others believe he was cast out by his brothers, forced to prove his worth alone. His life became a silent rebellion, showing that intelligence could triumph over brute strength. Makari's ability to vanish baffled even the best trackers. He moved with unnatural stealth. Solitude was his strength, giving him clarity and focus. The unknown made him more formidable. Rivals couldn't predict his moves. Whatever the truth, the legend of Makari grew, a lone wanderer who became a king. Makari was a strategist, waging war in the shadows, not on open ground. He was a master of subtlety, a lion who understood that true power often lies in what remains unseen. While others roared and charged, Makari preferred to let the grass conceal his movements, his intentions hidden beneath the surface of the savannah. For a lone lion, direct confrontation was too risky. He relied on outthinking, not overpowering. Every step he took was calculated. Every decision weighed against the risks. He knew that a single mistake could cost him everything, so he moved with caution, always alert to the shifting dynamics of the wild. He knew every inch of his territory, using it as a chessboard for his silent campaigns. Hills, thickets, and watering holes became pieces in his grand strategy. He mapped the movements of rivals and prey alike, turning the vast savanna into a living puzzle that only he could solve. His ambushes targeted not just prey but rival lions, psychological warfare at its finest. He understood that fear could be as effective as claws and teeth. By striking unexpectedly, he sowed confusion and doubt, making his enemies question their every move. He would stalk coalitions for days, learning their habits, then reveal himself at the perfect moment. Sometimes he would simply let his presence be felt, a shadow in the grass, a pair of eyes in the night, reminding his rivals that they were never truly alone. A sudden roar, a glimpse in the twilight, or a scent marker deep in enemy territory. These were his weapons. Each act was a message, a warning that Makari was always watching, always waiting. His enemies never knew when or where he might strike next. Rivals became paranoid, exhausted by the sense of being hunted by a ghost. Sleep became restless, and every shadow seemed to hold danger. The psychological toll was immense, wearing down even the strongest coalitions over time. Many abandoned the territory without a fight, undone by fear and doubt. The mere idea of facing Makari was enough to break their resolve. His reputation alone cleared paths that brute force never could. Makari's patience and self-control set him apart. He chose his battles wisely. He waited for the perfect moment, never rushing, never letting emotion cloud his judgment. In a world where survival often depended on split-second decisions, Makari thrived by playing the long game. He knew the loudest roar didn't always win. True dominance was measured not by noise, but by influence, by the ability to shape the actions of others without ever being seen. Fading into the bush, he lived to fight on his own terms. He was a phantom, a legend whispered about in the night, always one step ahead of those who sought to challenge him. Makari's reign was a masterclass in unseen warfare, proof that the smartest mind rules the savannah. In the end, it was not brute strength but intelligence, patience, and the art of the unseen war that crowned him king. Makari's domain in southern Kruger was a fortress of hills, woodlands, and winding riverbeds. This was not just a territory, but a living, breathing kingdom shaped by the land itself, a place where every rise and hollow told a story of survival and power. The landscape was both a shield and a weapon, offering protection and opportunity in equal measure. The complex terrain suited his stealth, offering endless places to hide and ambush. Twisting game trails and thick brush allowed Makari to move unseen, his golden coat blending perfectly with the dappled light. Here, he could vanish in an instant, reappearing only when he chose, always in control of the encounter. He ruled not with noise, but with quiet diligence, patrolling, marking, and watching. Each patrol was a silent declaration of his presence, a ritual that kept his borders secure and his rivals at bay. His movements were measured, deliberate, and always purposeful. Scent marks on trees and trails were his silent proclamations of ownership. These invisible boundaries spoke louder than any roar, warning all who passed that this land was claimed by a master of stealth and patience. For intruders, finding his scent was a chilling warning. "I am here. You didn't see me." The mere trace of his presence was enough to send shivers through the hearts of would-be challengers, reminding them that Makari was always watching, always aware. Makari avoided unnecessary battles, knowing every fight risked his life. He understood that true strength lay not in constant conflict but in the wisdom to walk away when the cost was too high. Each scar he bore was a lesson, each retreat a calculated move in the long game of survival. He observed rivals and predators, intervening only when his rule was truly threatened. Patient and watchful, he learned the habits of his enemies, anticipating their moves before they made them. This vigilance kept his kingdom safe and his reign unchallenged. This restraint was confidence, not weakness. He had nothing to prove. His calm demeanor was a testament to his mastery, a quiet assurance that his authority was unshakable. He let his actions, not his aggression, speak for him. His dominance was understood by all. Hyenas and nomads gave his land a wide berth. Even the boldest scavengers respected the invisible lines he drew, knowing that crossing them meant facing a ruler who commanded respect without ever needing to raise his voice. He ruled through quiet authority, not aggression. His leadership was felt in the stillness of the savannah, in the way the wind carried his scent, and in the cautious steps of those who dared approach his realm. Makari's kingdom was carved by intelligence and patience, not endless war. He knew that the greatest empires are built not on fear, but on respect and understanding of the land and its rhythms. True control, he knew, came from choosing which battles to fight. In the silence of his reign, Makari found the strength to endure, the wisdom to lead, and the peace that only a true king can claim. Among Kruger's rangers, Makari was a legend, the Ghost King. Guides told stories of his uncanny ability to appear and vanish, humbling even the best trackers. Tourists sometimes glimpsed him, only for him to melt back into the bush, leaving a lasting impression. Rival coalitions feared him. His psychological tactics drove them away without a fight. Makari became a symbol of a different kind of power, mysterious, intelligent, and untamable. He defied the rules of lion behavior, showing that survival was about more than brute strength. For rangers, he embodied the wild spirit of Kruger, a living legend. His presence added magic and mystery to the southern park. Makari's body bore the scars of survival, a torn ear, a jagged line across his nose. These were not marks of recklessness, but of a king defending his throne alone. Battles were rare but brutal, and his survival was a testament to skill and resilience. As a lone male, every injury was a risk. He had to be a superior hunter and fighter. He brought down large prey alone using strength and cunning. Each successful hunt was a victory against the odds. His self-sufficiency was absolute. His scars, badges of honor, they deepened the respect and awe that surrounded him. Makari's legend was grounded in the harsh reality of the savannah. As mysteriously as he arrived, Makari vanished. One season he ruled, the next, he was gone. No battle, no body, just silence. Rangers searched for clues but found only emptiness. Theories abounded. Perhaps he walked away to die in peace, or fought a final unseen battle. No one knows for sure. He disappeared like a ghost. His vanishing became the perfect end to his legend. By leaving no trace, he preserved his status as an enigma. The silent king faded into the landscape, leaving a kingdom empty and a silence profound. His story ended as it began, in mystery. Makari's legacy isn't measured in blood or conquered prides, but in the stories and respect he inspired. He proved that intelligence, patience, and strategy could be more powerful than brute force. His legend challenges us to see the depth in wild creatures, their individuality and cunning. Makari set a new standard for kingship. True dominance is earned through respect, not violence. He remains a timeless icon of silent strength, his spirit haunting the savannah. Was he simply smarter or something more, a rare genius among lions? For now, the legend of Makari, the silent ruler, fills us with wonder.
The Mapogos coalition, usually so bold, was silent. These lions, legends in their own right, seemed uneasy, their confidence shaken by something unseen. Their tracks hesitated, turning back from a boundary they once owned. It was as if an invisible line had been drawn in the dust, one they dared not cross. No fight, no blood, just the scent of a single, massive male and deep, deliberate paw prints. The air was thick with tension, as if the land itself was holding its breath. It was him, Makari, the ghost, a lion whose presence was felt more than seen, whose legend grew with every silent step. He passes through and the balance of power shifts, leaving only questions and silence. The other animals sense it too, pausing in their routines, alert to the change in the air. Makari was not a lion you saw, but a presence you felt. A shadow that fell over the land without a body to cast it. He was the chill in the morning mist, the hush that settled at dusk. Other lions announced their reign with roars. Makari ruled by absence. His silence was more powerful than any roar, his territory marked by fear and respect. His legend was written in empty spaces and the hush he commanded. Even the watering holes seemed to wait for his permission to come alive again. For rangers, tracking him became an obsession, piecing together subtle clues, each broken blade of grass, each faint print a puzzle to be solved. A buffalo kill, drag marks but never a lion. The evidence of his power was everywhere, but the lion himself remained a mystery. His tracks would vanish as if he'd been lifted from the earth. The wind seemed to erase his passage, leaving only stories behind. We called him Makari, the mysterious one. His name was spoken in hushed tones, a word that carried both awe and uncertainty. A dominant male who sought no pride, a king who ruled not through presence, but through the intimidating weight of his absence. He was a legend in the making, a solitary ruler whose story was whispered across the plains. His story was only just beginning, one ghostly footprint at a time. In the vastness of Kruger, Makari's legend would grow, as elusive and enduring as the land itself. In the beginning, Makari was a myth born from unexplained events. Lion coalitions abandoned territories overnight as if spooked by a phantom. Rival males, once confident, were found miles away, shaken but unscarred. Whispers grew, a huge dark-maned lion glimpsed at dusk, hyenas scattered by the scent of a single, enormous male. He was never photographed, never collared, never officially documented. Makari existed only in the consequences of his passage. When powerful coalitions retreated without a fight, rangers knew Makari. His legend grew in the hush of those who knew the bush best. He was the answer to every riddle, the silent variable in the Savannah's equation. Makari's rule was written in the earth, not in blood. His legacy was not marked by scars or the remains of rivals, but by the subtle, unmistakable signs he left behind. His story unfolded in clues: a lone kill, deep drag marks in the grass, and the quiet aftermath of a hunt that few ever witnessed. Sometimes a carcass hidden in thickets was all that remained of his passing, a silent testament to his skill and secrecy. No lion resting nearby, just silence, as if the land itself was holding its breath in his presence. His paw prints, enormous and confident, were his signature, each step pressed deep into the earth, a quiet proclamation of dominance. Following his tracks was like reading a chapter that always ended in mystery. They'd vanish into bush or rock, as if he walked without touching the ground. It was as though Makari moved between worlds, always present but never fully seen. More telling were the reactions of other predators. Prides huddled, nervous, their bodies tense and eyes wide, sensing a presence they dared not challenge. Their roars silenced for days, the usual calls and challenges replaced by uneasy quiet. This was not fear of a visible threat, but of a superior unseen force, an authority that needed no display of violence. Makari didn't need to fight. His proximity alone cleared a path. Animals moved aside instinctively, as if the very air shifted when he approached. In Kruger's landscape of violent coalitions, conflicts faded where Makari roamed. His mere presence was enough to dissolve tension and halt aggression. Young males disappeared, not defeated but displaced, choosing exile over confrontation with a legend. No bodies, no epic battles, just the overwhelming sense of a force too great to challenge, a shadow that shaped the savannah. Makari's dominance was psychological, preventing violence before it began. He ruled not by tooth and claw, but by the weight of his legend. He was a king who ruled by reputation alone, his authority unchallenged and absolute. His power was felt, never seen, a phantom whose footprints told the story of a true monarch of the wild. In the world of lions, the roar is everything, a proclamation of power, a warning to rivals, and a call to allies. It echoes across the savannah, announcing a king's presence to all who dare listen. The Mapogos coalition ruled with thunderous roars, shaking the very ground beneath their paws. But Makari, the lion who would become legend, ruled with silence, a different kind of power. In all the years his presence was felt, no one ever heard him roar. Not once did his voice split the dawn or thunder through the night. For a dominant male, this was unnatural, a king who never spoke, who never announced his rule with sound. His silence was his greatest weapon, a cloak that made him invisible to enemies and unpredictable to friends. Rivals never knew where he was. A roaring lion gives away his position, but Makari was a ghost slipping through the grass, unseen and unheard. Silence was a strategic choice, no invitations to challenge, no lines drawn in the sand, no reason for others to unite against him. He was not a brawler, but a strategist, thriving on being underestimated or unknown. His quiet presence unsettled those who expected a show of force. By remaining silent, he avoided unnecessary confrontations, moving like a whisper through others' territories, never leaving a trace of his passing. His reign was one of quiet intimidation, not loud proclamation. His stare alone was enough to unsettle rivals and command respect. While other males lived lives of constant performance and stress, Makari conserved energy and avoided injury, outlasting many who roared themselves hoarse. He played chess while others played tug-of-war, always thinking several moves ahead, always watching, always waiting. His silence was not weakness. It was the ultimate expression of dominance, a confidence that needed no announcement. Makari was a king apart, a ruler whose quiet strength left a legacy that echoed louder than any roar ever could. A male lion's legacy is usually measured in offspring and pride. Makari defied this logic. He never held a pride, never sired cubs. He was a king with no court, a ruler with no subjects. His dynasty was one of influence, not blood. No coalition could establish territory in the vast southern Kruger he roamed. Ambitious males arrived, sensed futility, and quietly moved on. Makari held the most valuable land without ever building a castle. His invisible kingdom became a buffer zone. Transient lions passed through, but none dared stay. He ruled by preventing others from ruling. His legacy, the absence of other legacies. True power, he proved, doesn't need to be seen to be felt. Every great warrior has a code. Makari's was strategy, patience, and ruthless advantage. He was a creature of the night, hunting under cover of darkness, making him nearly impossible to track. After a kill, he fed quickly and vanished, never lingering to attract rivals or scavengers. His nomadic existence kept his movements unpredictable. He engaged in conflict only when victory was certain, never a coward, but a tactician. Rare confrontations happened on his terms, swift, decisive, and followed by disappearance. He avoided injury at all costs, knowing a single wound could be fatal for a solitary male. His strength was in his mind, outthinking, not outmuscling his opponents. Makari's code was risk management, aggression balanced with restraint. He chose the path of the strategist over the spectacle of the gladiator. His reign was a masterclass in survival. Makari was the thinking lion. Lion life is often defined by violence, bloody takeovers, infanticide, chaos. Yet under Makari's silent influence, this cycle was broken. No rival coalition could gain a foothold. Violent takeovers simply didn't happen. The region became a sanctuary, transient but peaceful. Makari's presence created a buffer zone where the usual rules of lion warfare were suspended. The ecosystem felt the difference. Less conflict, more stability. Herbivores grazed with more predictability. Other predators operated with less fear. Makari was an unintentional but effective park manager. He proved dominance doesn't have to be destructive. In his silent way, Makari created one of Africa's most peaceful lion territories. In the bush, we equate success with strength, but Makari proved intelligence is the ultimate power. His reign was built on understanding of environment, prey, and rivals. He hunted with efficiency, using terrain and darkness to his advantage. His ability to vanish was not magic, but mastery of the landscape. He handled rivals with psychological warfare, letting reputation do the fighting. Makari chose brains over brawn, ensuring longevity in a brutal world. He conserved energy, avoided unnecessary aggression, and maintained his mystique. The most powerful weapon in a lion's arsenal, he showed, is the mind. Makari redefined what it means to be a dominant male. Makari's story was never meant for headlines, no photos, no documentaries, just whispered legend. His fame was local, shared by rangers and guides who knew the bush's secrets. His legend grew with each retelling, each unexplained event. Then, as silently as he ruled, he was gone. No body, no final sighting, just fading signs. The power vacuum filled, old cycles returned, but Makari's fate remained a mystery. Did he die in peace, or does his ghost still walk the park's remote corners? His story leaves us questioning. Do we undervalue the strategist, the ghost who ruled with his mind? Perhaps true greatness is not always loud. The legend of Makari, the silent ruler, remains, a perfect mystery in the African dust.